So a few episodes back, we talked about how to use AI as an EA, and it kind of bled a bit into sales. And I've really been getting into this whole AI as an assistant and as a sales agent lately, because I think the opportunities are endless and the accuracy of them is 100%. And they never miss a question, and they don't get nervous or embarrassed or feel like it's too much. They'll always ask the question if you tell them to. So today, if you want to understand how to use AI as an inbound sales strategy and as part of your inbound sales team, you're going to want to stay tuned. Welcome to the KeyHire Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harlock, creator of KeyHire, where we help owners scale their small business. Before we dive into our show today, a couple reminders for you. I'm hoping you can help me out. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever it is, if you can subscribe or follow us, help us spread the word. We do this show for the small business owners, and the more we can get it out there, the more people we can help. Also, if you're on your handheld device, if you scroll to the show notes, the first line should say, send us a text message. Simple, click that, send us a note, let us know what you think of the show. Let us know if you have any comments on any of the episodes or any topics you'd like us to cover, let us know. And we'll get out there and find some experts for you. And thirdly, right under that link is a Connect with Corey link on LinkedIn. Hit that. You'll go to my LinkedIn profile, hit connect, and leave a note there like, hey, love the pod, or I'm a listener of the podcast, and I will definitely accept your LinkedIn connection. All right. Before we get started, I got one more thing for you. Let's talk about some comments. We've had a couple comments over the holidays here. Welcome back. Tracy B liked our year-end wrap-up episode, and he was talking about what hits him most is that most business owners are scared to death of being wrong, so they cling to proven methods like rats on a sinking ship. I don't know if the rats on a sinking ship, but I've seen that the small business owners, the harder things get, the tighter they squeeze instead of looking outside. So Tracy, thanks for the comment. Appreciate it. And then Sabine V had a comment on our roundtable episode, which was a few months back, but a lot of fun. And she was talking about adaptability really hit home for her. I've seen firsthand how companies in spaces like Insurtech gain such an edge when they hire for the athlete mindset rather than just checking boxes on experience. There's something powerful about bringing in people who actually thrive in uncertainty rather than just tolerate it. And if you go back to that episode, I think it was Kurt Euler who was talking about hiring for the athlete mindset. It really hit home with a lot of people. I've had a lot of comments on that philosophy and that vision. So thanks, Kurt, for being a part of the roundtable. And thank you, Sabine, for your comments. All right. So today, our guest has the hardest second. We had a really hard last name. I think it was Skilaflex is Manny's last name. It was a hard one. Shawn is in competition. So Shawn Boehme. Is that right, Shawn? I got it. All right. Shawn Boehme, and he's with PanTerra Networks. And he's the director of sales at PanTerra Networks, where they drive productivity and cost savings through innovative communication tech. He's a family man, youth mentor, and Yorkie lover. He blends leadership, innovation, and heart on the water, or guiding teams towards transformation. Let's welcome Shawn in.
All right.
I got the yips there trying to pronounce your name. I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
No, you did well. You didn't mess it up. So,
Boehme.
Boehme, if you read it, you'll never be able to say it. But
so I was thinking about it, and I went to high school with a girl, well, now a lady, a girl back then named Joanne Blome. And her name was spelled almost exactly like yours, except with an L after the B. And I was like, oh, it's got to be Boehme.
Well, it happens a lot. Like there was a really famous college coach, Boeheim, right? Okay. And he spelt his with the OEH as well. So it's just what happens. Basically, they took that umlaut, the two dots above the O, and they pulled it out and they put an E in there. And so that's how I came up with the name. But
what are the origins of it? Where is it from?
Germany, like the eastern side of Germany between Prague and Germany, right there, that Saxony area. But yeah, they came over a long time ago, back in the 1880s. And, back then they were just like, oh no, you're English. So we're going to take that umlaut out. Yeah.
Where are you calling from today?
So I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, born and raised, a native of Arizona. So out in the East Valley, a little place called Gilbert that's getting bigger, getting more famous.
Yeah, I think my son's played hockey out there. I'm representing his team here, but I think he was playing hockey. We went to a tournament in Phoenix and we played out there. I think, is there a hockey rink in that town?
There is. Yeah, there is a hockey rink.
Like a semi-pro team there or something, an AHL team or something?
Man, because we lost our Coyotes.
Like 2 rinks and a bar and all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. It was huge. Yeah, that's a great rink. You know what? We had the Coyotes, right? So we had the big NHL team, and then they left, but they left a great footprint because we've got all of these ice rinks all around town. So you wouldn't expect hockey in the desert, but it is here.
Yeah, they have a good program. Yeah. Very cool.
And I was going to say, and Phoenix is a great place to come in January when it's freezing everywhere else. So.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah, I'm a former Canadian. I got my citizenship at the end of mid 2025, so I can now say I'm a former Canadian. But a lot of Canadians are the snowbirds, right? They either on the east side they fly to Florida, and on the west side they fly to Phoenix.
Yeah, and we do. We've got the Canadian flag in all of those snowbird parks. So you see the American flag, the Canadian flag. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into this. People don't want to hear us talk about,
Phoenix.
So we're talking about AI for your inbound sales team. So kind of give us the overview of what that is. What do you mean by that?
Right. And so in sales, what does a sales guy want? A sales guy wants a qualified opportunity that he can speak to, that he knows actually wants to communicate. Or if they don't have that lead, they want the ability to go hunt and find that person and spend their time doing what they do best, which is communicating, uncovering needs, coming up with problems, like solutions to the problems, and then hopefully getting the deal that they need. And so how do you put AI into that process and make sure that you can find those leads, qualify those leads, and get them in front of the right salesperson, or even lead them down a self-service path, depending on your product, that they can just purchase it right there and then. So that's basically what we're talking about today, mostly on the inbound side, but you can also do this on an outbound side as well. There's just different strategies that you have to use.
Sure. And so on the inbound side, we're talking about calls coming in. So people calling in to make an inquiry or get a quote or something like that.
Yep. Or you've got law firms that are doing a lot of advertising, right? And they get hit with a lot of phone calls, but they need to get through those calls and really figure out, do these people match up with the law, the lawsuit that I'm trying to find for.
Can we help them, right? If we're a personal injury or whatever it is, like, can we help this individual?
Right, exactly. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that on an inbound call, that means that person has enough interest in the product that you're offering them to give you a call.
Right.
But they may not be ready to just talk to a salesperson, or they may not be qualified. So how do you qualify them? And so that's where AI has been coming into play.
Interesting.
So we can kind of walk through that.
Yeah. And I think the thing I love about it is they never miss a call. They pick up every time 24/7, right? And like you said, you can have them, depending on your product, ask the right questions and lead a person right to that product. Or do they have the capability, if I'm on the other end and they're asking qualifications and they say, let me get you to an agent or a salesperson. Now you're getting all that information sent to you. So you're saying, oh, I see you're looking for product XYZ. This is what you're looking to do with it. Here are your dimensions, whatever it is. Yeah, we got something for you. Let me just get you a quote, right? And it cuts that whole conversation down.
Absolutely. And that's really what we're trying to do, is not replace a salesperson necessarily, but give them all of the data that they need in a timely manner, so that when they're getting on that phone call, they're just immediately communicating with the customer and letting the customer know that they're heard. But exactly what you're saying, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they always have a smile. The AI agent always represents your brand correctly. Different voices, right? Like you can select different voices to match up with the type of buyer that you have. We always talk about trying to match up to your ideal buyer.
So based on the area code or the area they're calling from, if they're calling from the south, you can have someone with a southern accent answer that phone.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, I never considered that. That's wild.
Well, and also speed, right? So you can, based off of the area code, that because the trigger would be the area code. Hey, the call came from this area code. Yep. We're going to go ahead and communicate with this AI agent based off of that area code.
That's crazy. Look, there's a call coming in for you right there.
I know, and I thought I muted everything. Shame on me.
I warned you. So the other thing is, in the last show we did, they were able to tie theirs right into their CRM. So it's like you're creating a file on that client. So if they call back, you can pull them up and go, oh, they're coming back, or maybe they didn't order the first time, but they called back a second time. They're a warm lead now. Are you able to do that with your sales agents?
Yeah, absolutely. They actually have a memory as well. So they can know if somebody calls in and they hung up or they get cut off or whatever, and the person calls back in, they can see that record, and they're not starting the conversation from the very get-go. It's already got all of that metadata built into it so that it can just pick up that conversation and keep it going and say, hey, it looks like we got disconnected, but I had a few more questions to ask you. Go through those questions, get those answered. And then again, yes, it does have the CRM integration, and we work with CRMs like HubSpot, Salesforce, Zoho, and pretty much any CRM that has an open API. And that way we can pass that information from the call directly over into the record, so that if a salesperson gets involved and they want to finish that call and close it, they have all of the details and the customer never has to repeat themselves.
That's great. In the intro, I think I mentioned, they're not afraid to ask all the hard questions either. I know a lot of people, we feel like, oh man, I've asked a lot of questions. This person might start getting annoyed with me. Maybe I need to back off here. But the AI agent will ask all the questions 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, I can give you an example. This is not on a sales side, but this is more on a customer success side. So we have a customer and they are taking inbound calls for those like customer complaints. So maybe a company like Chick-fil-A or Waffle House or somebody, they have a sticker on their door and they say, hey, if you had any bad experiences, please call us.
Restaurants, you get a lot of calls.
A lot of calls. Exactly. And the biggest cost to that client is the labor of the human person on that call. And so if they can squeeze the time that the human is involved from 5 minutes to 2 minutes, that's how thin their margins are. And so what with them on the AI agents that we created, it will even recognize small nonverbal, like small little hints, and add that information in. So for example, let's say somebody was upset about something that happened in the drive-through. They don't necessarily say that it happened in the drive-through, but the context of the story or the complaint makes the AI agent realize that it happened in the drive-through. Instead of the AI agent having to ask, well, did this happen in the drive-through or the lobby? If that's one of the questions that the client wants to know, it can automatically answer that based off of the context of the conversation, which is a gain. It's very different than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, in order to get that information, you had to say a keyword. It was all based off of keywords. Yeah. And you would have to list out all of the keywords that could potentially trigger this answer. But now with conversational AI, it's smart enough to understand tone. And so it can get a feel from the entire complaint or based off of that example of, okay, I'm not going to ask if it happened in drive-through because this story would only happen in the drive-through. Therefore, I'm checking the box. This happened in the drive-through. So
right.
really intelligent is a great way of saying it.
And so like on that same line of information. So if when they start talking to the AI, they're spitting out information and there's questions coming up, it can go, oh, it's already answered that question, so it can kind of skip over those questions and streamline the whole conversation.
Right, exactly, which reduces your handle time, which is something that even sometimes that on the human side you struggle with, because maybe they're not as intuitive. But with these AI agents, they're actually extremely intuitive.
Right.
And so ultimately, maybe that customer wants to speak to someone. They want to hear that, they want to feel like they're heard. Well, that call is always going to get transferred to a human. They're always going to feel that compassionate experience that they seek. But that human doesn't have to spend as much time with them, letting them know that their complaint was heard, because they can get on that call, they can explain what they understand, and then they can let the customer know how they're going to rectify it.
I have to think, and maybe you have some information on this, but because it's a different person asking the questions, and then another person, who this one's a real person, comes on live to solve the issue, is there a kind of a psychological thing happening where the person thinks, well, I dealt with this person, now I'm coming to now this person's here to solve the problem.
Right.
Whereas if I was asking all the questions and then tried to solve the problem, they say, well, you're just the kind of the person answering the phone. Let me talk to your supervisor, right? But it's almost like, let me transfer you to my supervisor so we can fix this for you.
That would be there? I was going to say that would be the KPI to figure out, like, do you have less customers asking for a supervisor because of the two-tone process going through an AI agent to the representative that's coming up with solutions? Maybe that does reduce the desire for a supervisor. That'd be a great thing to figure out. I don't have
escalation, right? Let me escalate this to my supervisor or whatever, and they feel like, oh, or to get you someone to help you, and they feel like, okay, well, this person's now here to help. They're not here to ask me a bunch of questions.
Exactly. And there's nothing people hate more. And this happens. I mean, this has happened to me. I sit there, I'm talking to a human, I'm telling them my issues, I'm giving them all of the data. Well, they haven't had time to fill in their supervisor when that supervisor gets on the phone. So what do you end up doing? You end up spending the first 5 minutes of the conversation with the supervisor re-explaining all of your problems and your troubles. And so that's the frustration point. But if we can scrape a conversation from an AI agent, present it appropriately to the human so that they can come in and just say, I've heard what you've said. These are all of the points. We're going to get this addressed. Can I offer you a credit or whatever it might be? Then your handle time, your customer satisfaction, the handle time goes down, but the customer satisfaction goes up.
Yeah, and that's, I think, for me, the biggest frustration when you get transferred is they're like, hey, how can I help you? So you say it, and they're like, oh, we need to get you to a different department. So they pick up the phone. How can I help you? And you're like, okay, you're the third person I'm explaining this to you. So I'm even more pissed off about this than I was when I called 15 minutes ago. Like, you're not helping to resolve this. You're actually escalating this and getting me more irritated about the whole thing.
Exactly. And also, that's one area that just in the customer service space, we see it a lot with BPOs. Those are third-party call centers that answer on the behalf of large brands.
Are they usually offshore or nearshore?
Yeah, well, and that was the big push, for the past 20 years, because every call center is trying to reduce cost. Right. And so they think naturally, if I go and I offshore this to the Philippines or to somewhere else, I'm going to have a lower cost. But now what we can do is we can instead of offshoring, essentially put that through an AI agent, reduce those costs, but then that final person that gets on the phone, they can be US based. They can sound like your client because you've saved so much money by automating with the AI agents.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's almost like onshoring is occurring because that time that you're taking of the actual American employee is not a lot to spend time with that
a lot more calls than they used to.
Exactly.
And, we did a show on nearshoring versus offshoring. And part of the conversation was around just when you call in to complaint or for service or something, and the person who answers the phone, well, you alluded to it earlier, like regional, right? Doesn't sound like you. Like, you're in an Indian call center, or you're talking to someone from the Philippines. That, again, is becoming annoying, right?
Yeah, it's like a bias. Yeah. You immediately assume
I'm not even talking to the person I'm talking to is 16-hour plane ride away from me. They have no idea what this is.
Yep. And in the tech world, we even saw where we would have large, like, for example, Google. If you wanted to communicate with Google, you were not talking to a human. You're talking to a bot the entire time. But there was never a phone number. There was never a phone number where you could call into and get your answers. It was always through open up a ticket, respond to this frequently asked page, which is just more and more of your time. They're putting all of that on you. Yeah. But if you really are trying to have a great customer experience or a great sales experience, then introducing a voice bot into the process, giving the customer the feeling like they are being heard, especially if it's on an inbound call, because they called you. You have something that they want. And if there's something that they really want, they're going to work with your AI agent to get what you want or get to the right person. So,
and it removes friction points, because unless you're exclusive on that product, you might annoy them to the point where they're like, I don't care if the other person's more expensive. If it's easier, I'll just go there. Like, every hurdle you put in front of them to buy a product or get resolution on something that happened with their experience just makes them want to go. And when they go, they're taking people with them. They're telling everyone they know. It's funny because before AI, and tell me if you've ever heard this, I remember reading an article about, like, a lot of the large corporations weren't measuring customer service, like people phoning in, on how quickly they could resolve the issue. What they were measuring was how long they could keep them on hold before they got so pissed off that they would hang up and go to the competitor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they had it down. We can keep these people on hold for 16 minutes before they get so upset that they hang up and just go somewhere else.
Wow. I had never heard of that, but
that was like 10 years ago, maybe, or something. But and you noticed it, right? Like, tell me how long have you sat on hold when you tried to call in for customer service?
Oh, and yeah.
And now with AI, it gets picked up every time. Yeah. And at least the conversation gets started.
Well, and I feel like what's nice about AI is you can communicate now directly to the phone system, and then the phone system knows where to send you. So even as something so simple as a receptionist. So we got so comfortable with these auto attendants. You would call in, and then you would sit, like, some auto attendants are so long. So you'd sit there and press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, press 3 for this. And you're just sitting here going, okay, what's my option? Gone. We don't have to do that anymore. Literally, you can just call in, and like we said before, in your branded voice, in the voice that matches up most with your company, it can say, how can I help you today? Just that simple. Yeah. And then your caller can explain what they're trying to accomplish. And just, it's smart enough to know, you know what, that should go to sales. Oh, you know what, that's a support call.
Right.
Or even simple things like, hey, where's your address? How can I come to the store today? What are your hours? So that's the kind of stuff that's just immediate. And if a customer can get immediate answers, they're willing to communicate with a bot, as long as that bot understands them, right? As long as the AI is understanding them and it's not making mistakes, then they are more than happy to communicate that way, because it gets them the answers and the results that they want in a timely manner.
Right. And those old phone trees that you were talking about, Presses, my favorite, you would call like an obscure number for like a bizarre reason, and it would say, listen carefully, our choices have changed. I always wonder how many people are calling in that had your choices memorized. Why are you saying that? Like, I'm calling this number once in my lifetime. Why do you have to tell me that your things have changed? Who cares?
Like, or they had poor customer support because people were just constantly calling in or something.
It always blew my mind. I'm like, why do you feel the need to say that? Hey, the other question I have for you, and I like to ask this because I'm really curious about it. Do they identify themselves as a bot or as a, hi, you're speaking to Johnny?
I think the human ear is smart enough that it can still at this point in time identify it. There's just like the slightest gap, the littlest hint of delay, and I think it becomes clear. So you never want to act like, you never want to try to pretend that your AI agent is human. That, but we have figured out ways to make it kind of humorous. So you can program these to have like a slight humor to them. And so they can kind of make jokes about how they are. Hey, no, I'm not. If someone says, are you human? No, I'm not human. I'm and then it can make a little funny joke about it. Yeah. And then it just creates a better rapport with the client. So there's little tricks like that when you're setting up your AI agents where it just makes the customer experience a little bit better.
Yeah, I think honesty is the best policy, right? You don't need to broadcast it, but if they do ask, saying, "Oh yeah, you're talking to AI, right?" Like,
yep, yeah, absolutely, and then make a little joke about it, and then keep it going. So.
Yeah. Now going back to the sales, we got way off track from sales, but what kind of? I know companies that implement AI agents actually see an increase in their close rates or their sales or the individuals. Individual salespeople, they're selling more.
Yes.
Am I making that up? Is that true? And what kind of results have you seen with it?
No, you're not making that up. And so I don't have statistical results, but I can walk through the experience that we've seen. So for example, PanTerra Networks, we are listed on all of these different sites where if somebody starts looking into business phone services, we get listed as one of the providers. And then those sites, they're considered lead aggregators, and they sell those leads to 5 different people. So, so what matters in that space when a lead gets sold to 5 of your direct competitors, it's about lead to speed. So one of the things that we created was an AI bot that sends text messages. And so on our site, it says that you can opt into text messages. And so as soon as that lead comes in from the third-party aggregator saying, hey, this company is looking for your service, then our AI bot will reach out and send a text message and say, hey, I just wanted to verify. It looks like you're looking for a new phone system for this company. Does this sound correct? And then they can opt in or opt out of those text messages. But what it does is it quickly takes the leads that a company was just sending us just because they're trying to stuff bad leads in with good leads, and it can quickly disqualify them. And so what that's done on the sales side is it's allowed the sales guys to know that, hey, when they have an appointment that's booked or when that phone rings from that call queue, I know this is really somebody that wants to talk to me. And so gone are the days of getting a call that comes in and you're all excited as a salesperson. You've been waiting for this call. You only get 2 calls a day and you get this one call. And then, oh, I wasn't calling for that. I don't know how I got your number. And it's not a good call. So yeah, we've seen just being able to weed out the garbage and present the really good opportunities. That allows my guys to focus and spend more time not on the prospecting side of the business, but on the selling side and making sure that they have provided all of the details that they need to the stakeholders that are buying. Because in today's world, it's not just one person buying technology. It's an entire group of people. Right. So it just allows your sales guys to be so much better. Did that answer your question though? I might have gotten a little off track.
But I think even further to that, like, I think people it could be the quality of leads. So people aren't missing opportunities because they're dealing with unqualified leads. So they're talking to more people, they're selling more. Like I think I've heard this or read this somewhere, but companies have seen an increase of sales when they implemented AI sales agents.
Yeah. And it's just efficiencies. It's just your ability, because as a salesperson, what you never want to do is like build a sales funnel where you're saying yes to everybody. You really want to qualify people to make sure that you're putting them into a sales cylinder. Like if you keep your sales funnel tight, then you know that the people that you are working with have a higher chance of saying yes. And that way you're not chasing the noise and the tire kickers and the people that are not actually going to really buy your solution. So it just allows a salesperson, a true salesperson, to build what I would call a sales cylinder versus a sales funnel.
Very cool. Like it. Okay. So let's talk about some of the mistakes you've seen people when they bring these in. I'm assuming people could try to make them themselves. They could get a team like you to kind of put it together, but what are some of the common mistakes or miscues you've seen companies make when they try to implement an AI inbound sales agent?
Yep. So one of the biggest things is understanding where to build that AI agent out of. Certain platforms, they're low cost, very inexpensive, but you have to have the knowledge and the know-how to tune the agent. So you may have a low cost on the per minute usage, but are you working with a company that's built this out based off of what your needs are? Or are you starting from scratch and now you're going to have to tune this agent? And when you're tuning an agent, and let me describe what tuning means. You're basically practicing phone calls with that agent. You're getting the feedback on it and you're tweaking it and saying, nope, I don't like how you answered that. Let's never answer it like that. That's an entire process in and of itself.
Shawn, how long is that process?
Typically a 2 to 3 week process of just tuning. Taking what we've done is we've taken old phone calls, scenarios, ran them through, and you're just doing hours and hours and hours of tuning to make sure that you get all of the bugs out of the system and it's not going to hallucinate and do something incorrectly. So that's one of the things, is just trying to bootstrap it yourself. Hey, I bought this platform. They say they have AI agents in it. I just have to go and build it. And so, you're going to build it, but you're going to spend a lot of time.
And you're pulling all the info out of here, which might not be what's really happening on the calls anyway. You're just thinking, well, people must be asking this and they must ask this. And so you build it around the questions the owner thinks are being asked on the phone, and they might not be the questions at all, or it might be just a small subset of those questions.
Absolutely. And then there's a lot of platforms that don't have AI insights for a supervisor. And that's a big differentiator as well that I've seen inside of the contact center space. So it's one thing to be able to see the calls that are coming in, and you go in and you listen to the calls and you're looking at calls, but that's a very manual process in and of itself. But if you add AI insights to that process, what you have now done is you've allowed AI to be listening to the phone calls and trying to find, based off of the temperature of the phone call, things that the supervisor needs to pay attention. And so it will alert you, hey, this call recording, the sentiment analysis wasn't great. You should listen to it.
Yeah.
And so now
inside salesperson X has kind of got hot and bothered with 2 or 3 people in the last week here, not sending the right message.
Yep. And it can even be like, for example, I'll use our own KPIs. If an inbound call comes in and our AI agent sent over a live transfer, and that call in the queue only lasted 5 minutes, that's a big red flag to me. Why did a discovery call on an entire telecom contact center platform only take 5 minutes? And so those are like little things like that get notified as well on the insights. Like, hey, this was a very short call. You should listen to that and try to understand. Because maybe your sales guy was being lazy and he just was not asking all of the questions that you expect them to ask. So you can even have AI insights help you manage that sales team as well. So they're from all angles, from the customer experience, you can have assistance, and then from the actual management overview, you can have assistance there.
Very cool. Any other mistakes you can think of?
Other mistakes, I would say it really just comes down to just not realizing what goes into building an AI agent, thinking that you can bootstrap it from on your own, and not giving yourself enough time to tune that agent and to perfect the agent. I would say those are the biggest mistakes that I've seen.
Cool. So then, as we get to the end here, we always like to ask, if someone's out here thinking, man, this sounds really cool, other than calling you, what would you recommend they do to get started if they think I could really use this AI agent for inbound or customer service or whatever it is? How do they get started? What are the first steps?
Yeah, I would look into other than calling me, because that's an answer.
Yeah, we can call PanTerra. We'll get your information up here in a second, so you can.
No. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Other than calling me, I would say start with what I call is agent assist. If you have a sales team today, and you want to just dip your toe in the water and start to figure out a way that you could get AI implemented into your solution, I would start by researching a solution called Agent Assist. And it's a really good place to start. The reason I say that is it's not a full-blown AI agent. You're not building this AI agent out. But what it does is it allows you to have a scorecard, kind of like the checklist that we were talking about before. So if they look at their screen, they're going to be able to see, did I ask this question?
Yeah,
did I ask that question?
Yeah.
And so I think just start there in your search, is to look up Agent Assist. How can you use AI just to help assist your current sales force? And that's a good place to start.
Okay. Anything else you would tell people, like just best practices or where to look or what the first step should be other than Agent Assist?
First steps, I would say, in this market, because it is so niche, I'm drawing a blank, Corey.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you're looking at agencies to go with, are there certain things you want to see in their offering? And are there some red flags out there where you'd like, I would hesitate?
Yeah, I would want to know if, so what we're seeing a lot today is there's a lot of like AI companies that are claiming
100 a
everywhere.
day.
Yeah, every single day. And so I think the biggest question is, what platform are you using? There's a lot of companies that are trying to use third-party platforms. They brand it as their own, and they're saying, oh, well, this is an agency platform that we use for all of our customers, but it's somebody else's technology underneath. So find that out, because that means that you're really just talking to a marketing guy, and you're not necessarily talking to the technology provider,
right,
as well.
So
that would be a really good question to figure out. Is this your technology? Did you build it? If not, and that's fine if they haven't built it, if they have like a really good focus on a vertical, maybe they excel in your particular vertical, and you can find that out.
Okay.
So
awesome. And so now here it comes, get ready, Shawn. If they do want to call PanTerra,
okay,
how do we get in touch with you?
All right. So easiest way is just go to PanTerraNetworks.com, and please take a look over the website. We've got a lot on there about customer engagement. That is our focus, is to figure out the best way for you to engage with your customers, whether it's through phone, through text, through web chat. And so go check us out at PanTerraNetworks.com. That's a good way to start.
Awesome. And if people want to connect with you directly, do we have a LinkedIn profile or anything here? There you go.
So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm there with my little Yorkies in the photo. So if you see that photo, then you know it's me.
Shawn Boehme.
Boehme, exactly. Shawn Boehme on LinkedIn, Director of Sales for PanTerra Networks. I'm cool. Happy to connect. And in all honesty, and I'm sure a lot of salespeople say this, but if it's just about getting an information and knowing where to start, I am happy to have those conversations. Everybody is not at the same place. And so everybody's starting on their AI journey at different places. And I'm happy to point you in the right direction. And it doesn't have to be just with PanTerra Networks. If PanTerra Networks is not a good fit, I will tell you who the right fit for your business is going to be.
Awesome. I appreciate that. All right, man. Well, this has been great. I love these conversations. I appreciate your time. It's been valuable.
Thank you very much, Corey. This has been a great interview. I really appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. All right, there you go. Shawn Boehme, not spelt Boehme, spelt Boehme, but Boehme. That was cool. There's some really good information. I'm been very curious about how to use agents, I guess they are, to help your business. So I hope that was useful and helpful for you as a business owner out there, how you might be able to make sure every call gets answered and qualify leads and maybe make even more money. I'd like to thank you for tuning into the KeyHire Small Business Podcast. If you got value out of today, please shoot us a follow or a like or whatever it is on whatever platform you are on. Leave us a comment, share it with a friend, help us spread the word. We appreciate it. So until next time, I'm Corey Harlock. Stop grinding, start growing.